Hello everyone, we are another nerdy couple, and in today's video, that's right, we're talking about none other than WandaVision episode 6. The 90s, baby. The 90s. It's Halloween, of course it is. You know, I'm talking Halloween Town High.
Are those the only 90s movies you know?
Of Halloween.
Of Halloween. Well, no, Hocus Pocus might be 80.
I don't know. But, anyway. That was a crazy episode. And you know, we're just, alright, spoiler warning, the whole thing, you get
Spoilers,
it. You get it.
spoilers.
It's been 6 episodes. You get it. We're just going to start off swinging because, like, oh my god.
The end.
Yeah, the end. We're just going to start at the end. Why not?
That's a great pilot.
Vision.
So, okay. Vision obviously is noticing things are kind of wonky. And so then at the beginning of the episode, he's like, oh, I'm on the watch. I can't be with you. But then she runs into Herb, and Herb's like, he's not on the watch. And then we cut to him, and he's walking around, and we're seeing that lady, the creepy lady, and we've seen it in the trailers. She's like,
yeah, but she's not doing anything. She starts crying, shedding a tear.
The single tear, I was like,
she's in pain. She's in huge pain.
I was like, awful. Right? And so they're more frozen, and we get to this, like, cul-de-sac, and no one's moving, and he tries to talk to this lady, and, like, are those your kids? Mm-hmm. And so creepy. Then we see a car, and it stops, and then it's Agnes, and we're trying to talk to Agnes, and she's like, oh, I got lost, I took a wrong turn, and he goes, in the town you grew up in?
Yeah.
And then he wakes her up, and she's like, Wanda won't let you leave.
Yeah.
We can't even think about leaving.
And then she's like, am I dead?
Oh, yeah. She goes, am I dead? And he goes, why would you think that you're dead? She goes, because you're dead. And then she kind of like loses it. Yeah. And she's just like, dead. And then she starts, cackling, and she's dressed like a witch, so it's creepy laugh.
Yeah.
So he's like, what is going on? So he like puts her back in and starts walking past where we earlier hear is like the barrier of where we're allowed to go. Yeah. And it's Ellis Avenue. And so he gets up to the wall, and he's like, what the heck is this? And, he like
everybody does, in the movies.
Right? And he's like pushing through.
Yeah.
And he's pushing through, and Sword's on the other side, and they're like, something's coming. Yeah. And they know it's him. Oh, they know it's him.
Because
they have a tracker on him.
Yeah.
Right? And he's breaking through, and he breaks through. That was me throwing it to you, Brian.
and as he's breaking through, you can still kind of see like the redness, like it kind of has like a boundary around him, and it's like pieces are being pulled back into Westview, and it's like what's going on here? And then as he continues to go forward through the barrier, he starts like falling down, and then like he ends up basically in the fetal position, all broken, and he's like, help me, and nobody's helping him.
He actually isn't saying help me.
Oh,
he's saying help them.
Yeah, you need to help them.
He's like, help them. The people are suffering. Help them.
Yeah. And then he basically either dies or is on the brink of death.
Yeah, he's on the brink. Like, he is coming apart.
Right.
And you can see, like, the red strings pulling the stuff back in, and he's like...
And at this point is when Billy finally gets his powers, right? Because Tommy got his speed powers before Billy did. Very jealous, whole thing. And so Billy can hear Vision in anguish, right? And be like, Mom, he needs help. Get him some milk, And she just pauses everything. So, boom.
Oh, you know what, though? Pietro.
Oh, yeah.
Pietro goes, what, you can't...
Your dead
husband can't die twice, or something like that. And she, like, blasts him. Hilarious. So, yeah. So then she freezes everybody, and then she, like, gets red eyes and stuff, and goes...
Yeah.
And expands the head. Yeah.
And, like, big time. Like, big Mondo. And, like, all the sword people are like, oh, we gotta go. So they everyone turn around, but, like, somehow in between then, when Vision was coming out, Darcy came out, and she was like, you guys gotta help him.
Oh,
and
yeah, because he's dying, and she's like, can't you see he's dying? Help him.
Yeah, and they just handcuff her to a car, so she's like, all right, well, I guess I'm here now. And, the boundary is quickly approaching her, and she's like, this ain't good.
I'm going in.
And she goes in. Notably, we don't see what she looks like after she goes in.
Oh, that's true.
We saw sword agents, and we saw that there were clowns and like circus things and all that stuff.
Yeah, so like the sword base turned into a circus, and so a bunch of sword agents became, clowns and mimes and a food truck and stuff like that.
Yeah, but we don't know what Darcy looks like.
Yeah, we didn't see Darcy. But I mean, like, she's gonna look like herself, but like, what role will she play in this new world?
Right.
And so it's expanding and expanding and expanding. And I'm like once we got past Vision, I was like, "Girl, stop! Like, what are you doing?" And it just kept going, and then it got a whole like parking lot full of cars.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that it's a dealership. It became a used car dealership. But like, man, if there were like hella people in there, like, I don't know what she would have done.
She doesn't care.
Well, yeah, that too. But I mean, like, just wow. And just, like, it expanded and expanded. And I think the only people that didn't get pulled in were Hayward. I wasn't sure if that was his name.
Yeah, Hayward.
Hayward and, like, whoever was in the car with him.
Yeah, his crew in the car.
Yeah, just that one car. And I don't think Monica got sucked in.
I don't think she got sucked in because they saw it coming, and I think they turned around and dipped the other way.
Yeah, and they were far enough away, too, because they had already kind of left a bit. Yeah. Because they were going to meet
somebody in an hour.
The astrophysics guy or whatever,
Yeah.
Who a lot of people are thinking is going to be Reed Richards.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that happened.
Yeah. And, all right,
Monica and the FBI agent. Safe.
Let's talk about Pietro for a second because
let's talk about him.
He's confusing to me,
I
right?
don't understand.
He has Pietro Maximoff. He has MCU's memories, or at least some of them.
Sort of, yeah.
Because he knows that he was shot dead in the street like some chump, right? That's how he said it, and that's kind of the like the way that Marvel fans see it. Like, really, you just killed him in the same movie that you introduced him? Like,
yeah, and like he's Quicksilver. He can outrun a bullet, but he just got shot and killed.
Yeah. So it's like he knows at least how this guy died and like a little bit about him, but then he starts talking about like, oh, like it's not as like Wanda's costume is not as bad as the costume that she made that time that we got typhoid, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, I think you remember that different than I do.
Yeah, she goes, that's not exactly how I remember it.
Yeah.
And there was something else too, like, oh, he said, you're testing me.
Yeah.
When she asked about like the orphanage that they were in.
Right.
And
he didn't answer.
He didn't answer.
Yeah.
And so it's weird because he like sort of has the memories, but he doesn't. Yeah. And then, he said that, okay. He goes, oh, the last thing I remember was dying like a chump, and then your voice was calling out to me.
Right.
I knew you needed me, and I came back. And I was like,
that's confusing.
That's weird, right? And so also, if we're even thinking about like X-Men's Quicksilver, would he have this typhoid memory? Like, that doesn't seem right either because he lives in New York or something. Right. Or DC, actually.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, how did he get there? And he lived with his mom.
On top of that, I'm fairly positive he lived in a different time period than the present.
Yeah,
I don't remember the X-Men movies off the top of my head like that, but I don't think that that one that he was in was present time.
No, that one was when... That was the one that explained, like, why... Oh, my God. I'm going to sound like a horrible American. That president that the bullet...
JFK?
Sure, they got shot, that the bullet curved or whatever.
Oh, okay.
That movie was supposed to explain that. Like, that's why Magneto was in jail during that movie. Because he curved the bullet.
Yeah. JFK, like, in Dallas, Texas, he was in the car.
I don't...
Okay, I don't know what happened in the movie.
Horrible American.
I don't know what happened. I know that JFK got shot.
Yeah, JFK got shot, but I think it was JFK. But there was something weird about how he got shot in the real world. And because there was something weird about it, they explained it by like, oh, Magneto curved the bullet, but it was really that Magneto was trying to like save JFK, but either way, they arrested him because he curved the bullet and the guy died. And so he was in that like super high max prison, and that's why they got Quicksilver to break him out of the prison. Yeah. I liked that X-Men movie.
It was fine. But regardless of what happened in the X-Men movies, Pietro Quicksilver, the character now, I feel like Disney is kind of hedging their bets with like, are we bringing in the X-Men or is he just Pietro recast? did we just bring him only?
Yeah.
You know, like, is this our, like, they're being very, like, kind of, like, coy with what he knows, what his background is. Is he really somebody else from a different universe, or did she bring Pietro back to life, but because of her powers limitations that she can't bring him back exactly?
Yeah, and also there was that moment where she saw him all shot up.
Yeah, she saw,
which was reminiscent of us seeing Vision dead,
right.
and it's like, so is this guy him?
Right.
And
I don't know.
She even asks him, like, why do you look different? And he goes, I don't know, maybe it was easier for you or something.
Yeah.
Like, there was something there, and I was like, what?
And then my favorite part of that was, and what happened to your accent? What happened to yours? So I was like, all right, thank you.
Yeah. There was an interview where she says, like, oh, it's because we're in a TV, and so that's why it's an American accent. It's American TV. Like, I could write it off in, like, the 50s, you know, whatever.
Right.
But she didn't have the accent in Endgame either. Yeah. There was another thing that I wanted to say.
About Pietro?
No.
Just in general?
Yeah.
All right, well, let me hit you up with something.
Okay.
When Wanda is going out to trick-or-treat and she sees Herb, right? And Herb is part of the neighborhood watch. And, you know, he's like, she asks him, like, oh, where's Vision? And he says, oh, he's not on the neighborhood watch. And she starts, like, freaking out a little bit. And then he's like, do you want something changed? Like, is this not the scene that you wanted?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, she's talking to him, and he's the one that lets her know that that Vision's not on the neighborhood watch. And then, like, he sees that she's upset, and he's like, how can I fix it? You know?
Yeah,
like,
right.
Do you want something changed? Or his exact words.
Yeah.
And I was just like...
And so in this instance, I don't think anything is going to happen to her because this happened. Because Vision was not around for it. But the reason why I think Agnes has been sent to the friggin' nether realm of the outskirts and just zombieing out is because she lifted the veil in front of Vision. You know, she said, do you want me to retake that in front of Vision? And made him think. And then Vision ended up going and, you know, doing his own investigations because of what happened there.
Yeah.
So I think maybe Wanda got mad at Agnes and sent her away. Or Agnes be straight pretending.
Oh, you think she's stirring?
She could be.
Also, so something I noticed when we woke up Agnes, he kept calling her Agnes and she kept responding.
Yeah.
But we know that everybody's renamed.
Everybody else has a different name.
Yeah, so I was like,
Yeah. So I think that if she was pretending, it's because she wanted him to go out and test the limits, right? She wanted to be the last person there to see him and kind of make sure that he gets an experience that makes him go out and test the boundaries, right? So she did her part, and she did that because she wanted Wanda to expand the hex. And maybe if they do this enough, she'd take over the world with the hex. She controls the whole world, and who controls Wanda?
yeah, because, that's the other thing. She goes, Pietro asks, how did you do this?
I don't know.
And she literally says, I don't know how I did
Exactly.
it. I felt emptiness. I was alone. And then there was one.
And then there was WandaVision. So whoever is actually pulling the strings, whether it be Agnes or Mephisto or whoever the heck else, they want Westview to be expanded upon. Also, another hint that, you know, there's some mysteriousness going on is when they just start trick-or-treating, Pietro goes, raise hell, demon spawns, to the children. The children are quite literally demon spawns if Mephisto is behind this.
Yeah.
Either that or they're just trying to misdirect us like Marvel do.
Yeah. I don't know about this whole Mephisto thing. I don't know anything about him. Yeah. And so it's just like, maybe. The kids exist. What the heck? Like, I'm so excited that children are alive, but like, man, my theory.
Yeah. But then...
Check it out in the last episode.
Exactly. Pietro was asking interesting questions of like, but where were the kids before?
Yeah.
Right? And he was kind of like hiding it as like, oh, no. Like, it's cool. Like, you didn't do anything wrong, but like, I just want to know. Like,
yeah. He kept asking questions.
Yeah, a lot.
Which one theory we read was listen to
Saw.
us, Saw.
Yeah, come on.
Was about that it was Mephisto being Pietro, like that's why he looks different, because that's actually Mephisto. That he's like, were you not there for that?
I think I was, maybe.
That like Mephisto has taken on the role of Pietro, and is like pretending to be him,
Right.
And so that might be why he's asking questions, because Wanda does have control. It is Wanda's subconscious and consciousness that is controlling them.
Yeah.
But he gave her the power, so he's like, so why are we doing it like this?
Right. He's taking
you
notes.
Yeah. He's just like, so why is this the plan? You know?
Right.
And so some of the things that he points out was like, oh, you kept the families together, and you kept them with similar personalities to what they had, what they have underneath, and stuff like that. He was like, oh, you gave most of them like a promotion, like they have better jobs, And so it was interesting to hear him say all that. And then so when he's saying all the things, he's like, you've been doing this very civilly, I guess. So like the kids, are they like in a deep sleep or like what? Why? And he's like, oh, I get it. You took them out for the holiday episode, you know. And she's just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. He really does seem to know a lot of the behind the scenes things.
Yeah, he knows what's going on.
And
like he even knows that we're doing a show.
And there's no reason that any Pietro, whether he be from the MCU or from Fox, should know that Vision died.
Yeah.
There's no reason that he should know that.
He shouldn't know that.
He should have no precognition about that. Unless in between episodes, she told him that he died. But why would she do that if she doesn't fully trust him yet? She's still testing him. So I don't think that information came out from Wanda. And definitely not from Vision, because he doesn't even know that he died.
Agnes?
Maybe.
We've never seen them interact, though.
Yeah, but... Yeah.
Well, I mean, he just showed up last episode.
And unless Pietro is under the control of Wanda, maybe he knows that Vision's dead because he can feel her pain, but
she doesn't seem to be
controlling him because he's so annoying to her.
Yeah, and he's like doing he's doing all the things that she doesn't want, you know?
Yeah.
The kids are not supposed to show their powers.
Right.
Like, we're not supposed to show our powers at all, that family. And she says, like, oh, we're a respectable family. Like, do good while you take them out trick-or-treating.
Right.
And the first thing they do is run around and steal the candy. Then run around and smash the pumpkins. Then run around and cover everyone in silly string. And all that happens in like 5 seconds because they're quicksilvering around.
Yeah.
And he's like, Zah!
Right. And now, you know, just for some quick little small bites of things that I saw in the episode.
Small bites.
First thing that happens not first thing that happens, but first thing with Vision is that he's wearing this, you know, ridiculous costume, and Wanda's like, oh, you know, I'm so glad that you did that. And he was like, well, it's the only thing in my closet, you know? And that was him just like, you know, throwing shade at her, being like, I don't have a choice. You're controlling me. You're making me do this. And then she ran it back and just like turned him into a smiling, you know?
Yeah, and he was like, no, I know how much you love Mexican matador or wrestlers or whatever. Exactly. And was like,
right.
And then there were like multiple little moments like that in that just scene where she just kind of like, no.
Yeah. And the last thing that he says before he leaves is, you know, he goes to Wanda, he like kisses her on the cheek or whatever, and he's like, be good. And then he dips. Be good. Yeah. Like, come on.
He knows what's up.
He knows.
And it's interesting that he's keeping his memory from one episode to another. Yeah. Because most of the characters seem to, like, rewrite for the most part. Mm-hmm. In that, like, they don't realize the changing of the decades, really. Yeah. And, like, yes, Agnes knows that they're her neighbor and, like, is friendly. But, like, it's not... You don't see that consistency of, like, we know what's going on.
Right. And the last thing that I have to talk about is the commercial.
What was that?
I don't have an explanation. For every other commercial, I understood what it was getting at, you know, with the paper towels and logos, blood on the hands, the whole thing. Yo Magic, snack for survivors, and the person just keeps on trying to open...
And they can't open it.
And they can't open it, and then they die. If you know, if you have the explanation, put it down in the comments down below, because I don't got it.
Yeah, and, like, most of the episode, the commercials have been going, like, chronologically through her life. Right. And so, like, what happened after Lagos?
I mean, it could be, like, survivor's guilt that she's dealing with, and she's just fiddling around sitting doing nothing until she eventually dies because she has nothing else, like she's stranded on this island. It could just be like a sign of her loneliness.
Yeah, it could be that like emptiness, that loneliness,
right,
by herselfness.
But other than that, like it's not clear, like it's not hitting you in the face like all the other commercials kind of were.
Yeah.
Magic. But yeah, so with that, I think my final verdict on this episode,
8.
9.
8.
9 out of 10.
Solid episode. Wanted more. Good.
Good,
but
very
it
good.
was no last episode that was a solid 10.
Last episode, 10 out of 10.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and give us a like and comment down below your theories about that commercial.
And anything else, really.
Yeah, we'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Comment, like, subscribe.
So
that you do see our next video. I was like, what are all the things? Subscribe so you see our next video. Thanks again for watching. See ya. Bye.